Have you ever wondered why, even after reaching milestones, ticking off goals or acquiring things you once dreamed of, you still feel something is missing? It's strange. We enter this world helpless, hungry, unaware, with no control over anything. Not our thoughts, not our bodies, not even the language we'll speak or the name will be given. And from that moment on, we begin searching for safety, for meaning, for control, for something, anything, that will fill that quiet, gnawing emptiness inside us. As we grow older, that emptiness doesn't go away. It just changes shape. It wears new clothes. It hides behind new names: success, wealth, love, status, power. But at its core, it remains the same unanswered ache. We convince ourselves that one day, when we finally have enough approval, enough money, enough influence, then the emptiness will leave us alone. But what if it never does? What if that's not how this works? What if the more we chase satisfaction outside of ourselves, the further we drift from peace? This is not a modern dilemma. Humans have struggled with this internal void for thousands of years, but some tried to understand it, to face it. And among them were the ancient Stoics, philosophers who didn't promise happiness through possessions, but through perspective. Stoicism wasn't created to impress kings or win debates. It was born from suffering, from the raw question of how to remain whole when the world refuses to cooperate. The Stoics believed this: you cannot control what happens around you, but you can master what happens within you. That's the first shift. We spend so much time trying to bend the external world to our liking, but the world doesn't ask for our permission before it changes. It moves, it breaks, it withholds, it surprises. And no matter how hard we try, we can't stop it. And yet we act as if we can. We cling to things. We build our identity on outcomes. We panic when plans fall apart. But Stoicism whispers something different. Not all things are yours to control, and that's okay. You have two domains in this life: the outer world, chaotic, unpredictable, often indifferent, and the inner world, your judgments, your choices, your mindset, your discipline. This, and only this, belongs to you. And herein lies the tragedy. We often invest everything into the domain we cannot control, while ignoring the one domain that determines our peace. So we wait. We wait for the job, the relationship, the recognition. We wait for the world to validate our worth, and in that waiting, we delay life itself. We forget to live now. We tell ourselves, when I finally get there, I'll be happy. But what if happiness isn't a destination at all? What if it's a skill? What if it's something you build, moment by moment, through how you interpret and respond to life, not what you receive from it? The Stoics didn't ask us to stop pursuing goals. They didn't tell us to give up desire or ambition. They simply warned us not to place our identity or joy in the hands of things that could disappear. Seneca, one of the great Stoic voices, wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And he was right. We lose ourselves not to pain, but to fear of pain, not to failure, but to the fear of being seen as a failure. We break down not from what happens, but from what we think it means about us. This is the war, not outside, but within. The Stoic isn't the person who never feels. The Stoic is the one who feels, but doesn't collapse. They experience chaos, but choose calm. They walk through storms, but keep their center. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, and perhaps the most unlikely philosopher in history, wrote in his private meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This from a man who could command armies. Yet his greatest conquest was not of land, but of ego. He understood something that most of us forget. Material abundance does not equal peace. He had access to every luxury, every pleasure, every symbol of power. But he chose simplicity, restraint, reflection. He chose to cultivate himself, not his image. And that's where Stoicism becomes truly radical. It dares to suggest that you could lose everything and still be okay. Not because pain doesn't hurt, but because identity doesn't live there. The Stoics practiced this through what they called voluntary discomfort. temporarily living without what they were used to, food, warmth, comfort, praise, just to prove to themselves, I am not owned by this. Seneca wrote, "We do not understand how unnecessary many things are until we begin to do without them." And he's right. We don't realize how much we rely on things we don't need until they're gone or until we walk away. This isn't suffering for the sake of suffering. It's liberation through awareness. Because if your peace depends on something outside of you, your peace is always at risk. So the Stoics asked, why not build peace within? Why not train the mind, like a muscle, to withstand change? We live in a culture that sells us dissatisfaction. Every ad, every algorithm, every trend is designed to convince you that you are one product, one promotion, one transformation away from being whole. But you're not. You never were. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you stop chasing ghosts. What's truly radical isn't having everything. It's needing almost nothing. It's being okay in silence. It's being okay alone. It's finding meaning in effort, not outcome. It's realizing that your reactions are the only thing the world can't take from you. So how do you begin? By seeing clearly, by asking, what have I been clinging to? What beliefs about success, identity, or love have I swallowed without questioning? Have I been living or just performing? Have I been following truth or the crowd? Seneca warned against the danger of herd mentality. Don't follow the footsteps of others blindly. They may not be going where you need to go. And today that warning is louder than ever. We scroll endlessly. We compare constantly. We measure our lives not by depth, but by visibility. And we wonder why nothing feels real anymore. But it's not too late to return, to pause, to turn inward and ask the hard questions. What do I actually control? What kind of person do I want to be, regardless of circumstances? If everything collapsed tomorrow, what part of me would remain untouched? That is where Stoicism points, not toward apathy, but toward agency, not toward detachment, but toward deliberate, disciplined presence. It's about showing up fully to the task in front of you, whether it's cooking a meal, comforting a friend, or building a legacy, and doing it not because it will earn you applause, but because it is aligned with who you are. True peace is not a reward, it's a practice. It's not waiting at the end of a finish line. It's woven into every moment you live with awareness and intention. It's being free from needing the world to be different for you to be okay. It's the quiet strength that comes from choosing your response, even when everything around you is falling apart. And that is real power. The Stoics weren't perfect. They never claimed to be. They had desires. They made mistakes. They were human. But they aimed for something higher, not comfort, not control, but character. They believed that wisdom, integrity, and virtue were enough, even when everything else wasn't. And maybe that's what we're missing today. Not another secret hack, not another affirmation, but the courage to live as if this moment, this breath, is already enough. Because maybe it is. So stop. Take a breath. Not because you've earned it, but because you're allowed. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to perform your value. You're already here. And that's the only place true peace ever begins.